Coming off of Fortnite OG, or just any season in general, Chapter 5 Season 1 was a roller coaster of emotions. I mean, everything seemed different. The map, the mechanics, the whole shebang. It was like waking up in a house that wasn't yours. The barrage of new weapon attachments, the revamped movement system, which was enjoyable as watching a Sam Jam video, made me have serious doubts about this new season. I was like, did Fortnite screw up? Where's the simplicity? Where's Siphon? Speaking truthfully, it took me around 2 weeks to really understand everything, but I'm glad I stuck with it.
Holy shit.
Let's go.
Damn, they dipped it.
No!
We are gonna get shit on so hard right now.
Yeah.
While this video isn't going to be me whining about the season or glazing the season, I'm just going to be honest. Now, out of all the season 1s from each new chapter, this one? Yeah, it's probably the most different. I mean, remember the jump from chapter 1 to chapter 2? It felt like a reset more than anything. Sure, we had some echoes of classic Fortnite with those old weapons, but it was still kind of similar. Chapter 2 to 3 to 4 still felt loosely connected to each other, but chapter 5 genuinely felt like a true start of a new era. A common phrase that I've seen thrown around is that this new season, even this new map, feels like Warzone or PUBG, especially in those desert areas by Pleasant and Ritzy. And you know what? I kinda get it. But here's the thing, while I see the resemblance, I don't think Fortnite is just straight up copying games. Okay, maybe sometimes, but I see Chapter 5 as Fortnite's take on a rougher, more COD-like season. It's like they're flexing their creative muscles, trying something new and gritty. I'm not gonna go over the Battle Pass that much, but there's Peter. I would say average to above average Battle Pass, but this is the best Battle Pass ever made. I've seen a lot of complaints regarding the POIs on the map, but to be honest, I really enjoy the little ambience music that plays when you're walking around, like classy chords with that little... and then Grand Glacier with the... That shit slaps. My main gripe with this season is the fact that it kinda feels soulless. Don't get me wrong, it's super fun and addicting like gambling, but it's missing that extra oomph. Part of what made past seasons thrive in my humble opinion were the weapons and items. I mean, the cluster clingers are cool and all, but can it spawn in a triceratops from the sky? I strongly feel that a solid and diverse set of weapons and kooky items can make a season, even if the map isn't too great. The ship at LTM release, where the majority of past throwable items were unvaulted, and oh my god, this was unadulterated fun. But playing that LTM made me realize, this is Fortnite. Now I get it, the game needs to introduce new items to keep things fresh. Grapple blades and cluster clingers, all that good stuff. I'm not trying to be one of those guys who are still stuck on OG, like staring at the new mechanics of modern Fortnite and going, yeah, this is better. It's just something to think about. Speaking of the new items, cluster clingers. Now these bad boys are pretty rad, if you don't miss the doorway and totally bone yourself, but when used right, they're perfect for exterminating vault rats. And then we've got the grapple blade, and let me just say, this thing is pretty effing lit if I do say so myself. Zooming around the map like Spider-Man, sign me up! But here's the thing, I do think it's kind of a crutch item. Now don't get me wrong, the grapple blade is a blast to use, but I can't help but feel like it's a bit overpowered. And mark my words, Fortnite will definitely nerf them at some point, whether it's making it limited uses instead of a cooldown, or reducing the number of grapples from 4 to 3. Something's gotta give. On the other hand, we've got riot shields. Now, the only time I really use the riot shield is if I just landed and it's the first thing I pick up. I understand that some people can be little babies that cower behind the shield. It can be very cheap and cringe if they choose to use it that way, but oh my god, is it satisfying to stun a riot shield user. Pussy. Okay, I got him. So while I get the hate for riot shields, I also see the satisfaction of overcoming them. So, they're cool and they're cringe. I'm not getting into the nitty gritty of specs like, the gray AR does 22 damage and the green AR does 23 damage. My overall thoughts on the weapons, pretty decent. I like how they were newer takes on the older guns to kind of keep that familiarity. Weapon mods. For the most part, I think they're cool. I like that you can still make a gray weapon have potential and that the mod benches aren't everywhere around the map to the point where it's kind of broken. On the other hand, I feel like the addition of weapon mods kind of makes it so that unvaulting older weapons is redundant at this point. I mean, why bring back the classic AR or the drum gun when you can just slap multiple attachments on current weapons? Even if you make it past the hurdle of redundancy, it's still going to be a task to implement the gun with the bullet drop physics, and at that point they might as well just make a new gun altogether. Now I get that some things got invaulted like the lock-on pistol, pizza party, anvil, rocket launcher, and business turret, but those don't seem out of the ordinary since they're either gimmick weapons or items slash consumables. So while all this poses a threat to actual weapon unvaults, the way they would probably go about it is how they're doing it right now, where they modernize an older weapon model and turning it into something new. Sniper rifles. They're insane. Seriously, there's something so satisfying about lining up that perfect shot and taking out your opponent from a distance. It's like a precision ballet of destruction. Now I know that there's some division on snipers. It's a take it or leave it situation with me. If I get headshot sniped out of nowhere, well, let's just say my desk might end up in pieces. If I headshot snipe someone, then it's okay. So yeah, basically only I can use snipers. But I do have to admit, I'm rather glad the most powerful or broken weapon of the season is just the base sniper rifle. It's a classic, and they can always tinker with it and fix it down the line. I mean, look at the pump shotgun. With its infinite range, you could pretty much snipe someone all the way in Bulgaria. And you also have the double pump. It was like the Wild West back in Chapter 1. But Epic Games learned from that, and now we've got sniper rifles reigning supreme. So whether you love them or hate them, you gotta admit snipers do bring a whole new level of excitement to Fortnite.
Holy shit, dude.
I gotta say, I really like the medallions, and let me tell you, when the season started, they were absolutely busted. Having multiple medallions, meaning that you can get back to full shield in no time, was more broken than my marriage. And the fact that the circle was so big that there wasn't any risk in carrying multiple medallions, yeah, that was a bit wild, but I do think where they are currently is perfect. They're still powerful, but they're not game-breaking. Now, in terms of acquiring medallions, having the battle pass characters actually being the bosses and medallions, pretty cool. I also think medallions are pretty based because if you have all 5 of them, you can flex on baddies, and also it motivates you to push people that have one or multiple medallions.
There's a medallion over there.
Why are you saying it like that? You're f***ing pouting. Please stop.
To be honest, this season's updates were relatively tame. Don't get me wrong, there were some cool additions, but nothing too mind-blowing. The Christmas Island and POI were nice additions, I'll give them that, although not having the cabin this year wasn't based and valid. I mean, the cabin was so wholesome, so I'm just gonna subtract around 5,000 Reddit gold from you guys. Now the ice grappler, it was kind of middle of the road for me. I actually only used it a few times before I got taken out of the game since people found out that they could fly across the entire world. It was fun for a bit, but nothing too special. And the snowball launcher came back, and yeah, it's the snowball launcher. The update that brought us Flowberry Fizz, and I guess the Enforcer AR, now that was pretty based. Flowberry Fizz had me bouncing around like a little bunny, and it was so funny. And the Enforcer AR, moving on. Now, I'm not gonna say that the Soulless Snake update and the TMNT update sucked. They were good updates for sure, but I just found the 2 solid Snake items to be a bit lackluster. I mean, how many times can you really use the EMP cloaking device? It's fun to goof around with for sure and hide in plain sight in certain situations, but they weren't items I would use over other items. The TMNT event, on the other hand, is definitely a step up. They revamped the underground area to fit the Ninja Turtle theme, which was pretty cool. Now for the mythics, they're pretty interesting. I found myself and others using the actual attack abilities for the first day or two, and then just using them for mobility, which is fine. But the best part of the event was them unvaulting the hoverboard. This is all I needed. My biggest issue with this season, as I mentioned at the start of the video, is that this game feels soulless. Soulless might be a bit of an exaggeration. I mean, we've got Peter Family Man as a literal boss on the map, so how can you say that's soulless? But I really hope that this is kind of a one and done season, like an itch that Epic Games finally scratched. Like, we really want to do a chill season. We really want to do a Christmas season. We really want to do a crazy season. We really want to do a serious season. You know, if this chapter continues down the path that it's on, it's gonna feel more of like a stern and somber game, and that's not necessarily a bad thing, but it does stray away from the usual Fortnite charm. Because in all honesty, I think the season 1s of Fortnite chapters are supposed to be a little tamer, which leads me to believe that the map in chapter 5 is going to evolve in a good way. At least I hope so. So with that in mind, I'm giving this season a light to decent 6.5 out of 10. Now I know that might be shocking to some, but hear me out. I strongly feel that toning down the silly willy playtime feel that Fortnite is known for wasn't the best choice. The only map changes were the snow melting, the limited time Christmas POI, and the Pandora's box hand. Actually, that was pretty cool. It's just a little stale. Like I said, season 1s are pretty tame in map changes, and that's what the rest of the chapter is for. We had a nerfed Christmas event, and the other 2 updates were collab updates aside from Flowberry Fizz and Enforcer AR. Now, it's not a bad season, mind you. A bad season would be like a 3, but I'm just gonna end it there. Thank you for watching my video program. Do you agree? Do you disagree and want my entire family to perish? Let me know in my comments mailbox. If you like my videos, then consider using code LEO1 all caps no spaces in your Fortnite item shop. Thanks again for everything. Have a wholesome day and fly away today.